So started recording. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Lee, and I will be your professor for Core 170 this term. Uh, right now we're meeting remotely. We'll meet remotely throughout the week just while we get some of our classroom things set up. But in general, we'll be meeting Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8:30 to 9:30 in the Babcock auditorium. So what I've done is I've shared my screen. This is just the syllabus. You should all have access to this through your Canvas page. If there's anyone who doesn't have access to Canvas right now, send me an email after class and we'll make sure you get set up. But just going through the motions, the sort of typical policies we'll be doing in class this term. If you want to get a hold of me, the best thing to do is to reach out via email. My email's up there. It's dlee@SBC. I've also set up a Google Voice number if you want to call or text me if that's easier for you. But the best way to get a hold of me is email. Student hours, which we'll talk about later, exist for you. You should definitely take advantage of them. This term, to help with social distancing, we'll be doing student hours remotely and by appointment only. But if anyone needs me, my office is listed up there as Benedict 212. We've got some important dates this term, last day to drop the class or declare it pass fail. You also have until March 18th to withdraw. So importantly, with pandemic, this is not going to look like the Core 170 that some of your classmates may have taken. But know that both me personally and Sweetbriar in general are really trying to give you the best learning environment we can. So if you need to make alternative arrangements for class, make sure you reach out to me or the Academic Resource Center. If you notice that anyone is struggling or you're struggling, make sure you reach out to me or the Academic Resource Center. And please, the best way to get the most out of this class is through that open line of communication. And I think that's really important because moving on to the course description, this is a course about data and data literacy. But you'll note that this is not a math class. This is not Math 170. This is Core 170. And though this is a class about data and data literacy, we're really going to teach it more from the standpoint of leadership and your role as leaders to your peers and to others. So we're going to try and teach this class more from sort of like the philosophy of data than the actual calculation or computation of data. We're going to talk about how data decisions are made in a bunch of different contexts. We're going to talk about logical fallacies and reasoning. And we're going to perform analyses on data and draw conclusions from those data. But when I say analyses, I don't mean necessarily statistical analyses. You're not going to be punching things into a calculator. I mean more analyses of reasoning. Why might these be good data from which we can draw conclusions, or why might they not be? Why might the research that is being presented to us be suspect? So you should have all had design thinking, but you're enrolled in the class, so we can skip that bit of the prereq. We have two books this term, Calling Bullshit and Expecting Better. And I really want to talk about these for a couple reasons. One, you'll notice that these aren't textbook. These are popular press books. Like I said, this is not a math class. This is a leadership class. The other thing is I want to issue a bit of a content warning because Expecting Better, as you might have gathered from the title or the cover, is a book about pregnancy. And so first of all, if anyone is uncomfortable with that topic, sorry, we have a message in the chat. Are they available online or over the textbook store? They're available both ways. And the first couple chapters are already on Canvas for you, in case you're not able to get them in time. But going back to Expecting Better, which you'll see is a pregnancy book. First of all, I wanted to issue a content warning. If anyone's uncomfortable with that, let me know, and we can work out an alternative arrangement. But two, I really wanted to emphasize that, as you'll see even in tonight's reading, it really is a book about making decisions in a data-driven world. And I think the important thing here is that we can learn how to make decisions in a data-driven world from a bunch of different sources that you might not have thought of previously. I also wanted to underscore, though we are Sweetbriar, though we are ostensibly a women's college, I would be teaching out of Expecting Better at any college or university, including up the road at Hampton-Sydney. I think Emily Oster is a brilliant economist, and what she does quite well in this and her other books is communicate the science behind it. And that's really what we want to talk about. How can you take these you know, sort of fractious or esoteric data-based decisions and communicate them to a general public? Any questions about the textbook so far? I saw we had a couple things in the chat about where to get it or if you can get it cheaply. If you want to get Kindle or ebook versions, that's fine. Whatever works. So any questions about the textbook so far? All right. So you are responsible for checking Canvas daily. I will post assignment information. I'll post announcements. If you give me a second, let me show, I'll put a new screen share up just to show what the Canvas page looks like and give a sense of what I expect from you. So just give me 1 second while I put it in student view so no one is all right. So this is your Canvas page. The home page of Canvas is set to the activity stream, but the most important page on our Canvas page is going to be here in announcements. And I'll post an announcement at least once a week. And what I'll do is tell you exactly what we're going to be doing that week. So here, if you go into the week 1 announcements, our Canvas page is now live. You can find the syllabus here, and there's a link to the syllabus. You can find our first assignment, which is due Saturday here. Here's a link to the Zoom call, which we're all on. So today we're talking about syllabus and classroom policies. Wednesday, we'll be talking about our first reading, which is the introduction to Expecting Better. For those of you who don't have the book yet, the PDF is on Canvas. Friday, we're going to be talking about how data is used in science more generally. And then, of course, Saturday, your first assignment is due. There is some extra information there and a little bit of a fun thing just for you all to enjoy. All right, so any questions about Canvas before I leave the page? Emily is asking about my cats. We'll address that at the end of the syllabus talk. We'll open it up for just any sort of question. All right, so going back to the syllabus, you're responsible for checking Canvas daily. One of the things that's on Canvas is your first assignment, which is a syllabus contract. So before Sunday, meaning Saturday or earlier, you need to send me an email introducing yourself and saying that you have read the syllabus and agree to its policies. It's important to note this is not the only thing you need to do in this assignment. There are other things that should be included in the text of that email. Those are all outlined on your assignment on Canvas. It's also important to note that this is due via email. There's no submission available on Canvas for this particular assignment. You actually have to send that email. This is something I do with all my classes. I think it both helps to get you, familiar with the way I do things in class, and it also helps me get to know you better. But I found that particularly given the pandemic, and since we can't have that many sort of face-to-face interactions, it'll be really helpful for me in getting to know you. So though I think this is a serious class, I also think it's quite easy in the sense of everything you have to do is already up there on Canvas. And all you have to do is send the syllabus email, participate actively, and write 10 pages. Those 10 pages are 6 one-page essays. What you'll do in the one-page essay is basically take one of our readings from the past 2 weeks and summarize it, talk about why it's important, talk about how it relates to maybe a decision you're making in your own life or not, and also critique it using those leadership, you know, data-based decision tools that we're talking about in class. The other 4 pages you have to write are our final paper, which is basically just taking one of our biweekly essays and expanding it. So take a topic of your choice and talk about how you are using data to make a decision in your life. You'll approach this topic using the reasoning, the logic that we're developing in class. And we're also going to have a brainstorming and workshop assignment halfway through the semester, just so everyone is sort of comfortable with writing this paper. The other part of your grade is participation. I'm not taking attendance. There's no attendance grade, but you are expected to participate in classroom discussion. And this means asking questions, being engaged, and also being comfortable with the readings. And by that, I mean you're supposed to complete the assigned readings before class. So for example, we are talking about the introduction to expecting better on Wednesday. You should read that tonight or tomorrow night, so when we meet on Wednesday, you can talk about it comfortably. And again, I think once you start reading this introduction, you'll get a sense of how it's about making decisions in a data-driven world. If you're not able to make class, it's your responsibility to find out from someone else what you've missed. And those of you who have remote accommodations, I've got your letters from Dr. Riles, and we'll be in touch separately to talk about how you can actively participate as well. Questions so far? All right, and I think we have something in the chat. Nope. Okay. Okay, so the next bit is the honor code. Everyone, say it with me. Sweetbriar women do not lie, cheat, steal, or violate the rights of others. Therefore, I pledge to uphold the standards of honorable conduct. I will report myself and any others for infractions of this pledge. And though I am not a Sweetbriar woman, I will most of the time not lie to you as well. All right, so the grades are just what we talked about. 6 short essays, which are going to be 10% of your grade. That's fudged a little bit because you have this syllabus contract, so they're really 9% of your grade, and then there's the 6% for just sending an email today. 10% participation and 30% on that final paper. Standard 10-point grading scale. Hopefully you'll all be in that A to A- range. If anyone, again, is having trouble making their grades, and really the way you'll know this in the middle of the semester is if you're having trouble getting those short essays in on time or making them sort of cohesive, talk to me or talk to Dr. Riles at the ARC. Accommodation, most of you already have your accommodations in. Certainly, we want to make sure you're getting the most out of this class, and you are welcome to request accommodations. If you need accommodations, you have to go through the ARC. And it's just a question of fairness to everyone. I can't give you special treatment unless I have that documentation from Dr. Riles. With that in mind, especially because he's processing so many right now with regular semester accommodations and COVID accommodations and whatever else have you, if you need accommodations, get them to Dr. Riles as soon as possible. Other than that, be respectful, both of me and your fellow classmates. If you need any help, reach out to me or reach out to Dr. Riles at the ARC. Finally, let's take a minute to recognize the fact that we embrace diversity with regards, but not limited to, age, background, belief, ethnicity, gender, all forms of gender identity and expression, national origin, religious affiliation, sexual orientation, disability status, and other both visible and non-visible categories. Um, Importantly, if you feel that this class is not being welcoming to you, or you are not being included or accepted, either come to me, or if your problem is with me specifically, go to an administrator or Dr. Riles to share your concerns. We really want to make sure that you feel welcome, both in this class specifically and Sweetbriar overall. So real quick, let's go through the plan for class. Sorry, we've got a question in the chat. How exactly is the final going to happen? Is that during finals week? So the final is a final paper. You will submit it over Canvas. And you'll see that when we get to the bottom of this schedule in a second. Thank you for that question. So today we're going over classroom policies. Wednesday, we're discussing the introduction to Emily Oster's book. And then we're going to be talking about a bunch of different ways that data is being used both in research and in making decisions, and how that relates to decisions in a data-driven world. Sweetbriar has generously canceled class 2 days out of the whole semester. I added an extra cancellation in there just to get us some breathing room. When you see Bergstrom West or BW, that's our other textbook, Calling Bullshit. Whenever a chapter number is listed, that's from one of our books. And there's a couple chapters that aren't from our required textbooks. Those will be posted to Canvas. So for instance, before the 25th, we'll be reading from Nate Silver's book. And before April 2nd, we'll be reading from the Stevens book. All this other stuff on the schedule will become clear as we approach it in the semester, but a couple key dates that I want to point out is on the 22nd of February, we're going to be doing this workshop where you can start to brainstorm both with me and with your peers ideas for how you'll be writing your final paper. And this last day of class, the April 7th, is a work day where you can work on your final paper, again, either on your own or in class with me and with your peers, whatever you're comfortable with. And to that question that somebody asked earlier, the final paper will be due on Canvas Monday, April 12th. And I think I set the due time to 5:30 in the afternoon. All right, so I'm going to stop the screen share. Any questions so far related to the syllabus or related to classroom policy? All right. So I'm going to stop.